Well, Eric, listen, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated that this bill is moving forward. This is the priority of Chuck Schumer and the Democrats, and I think it's the wrong approach. There are a number of provisions in this bill that are concerning. The most concerning of them concerns the so-called red flag laws, which provides federal funding for states to put in place laws that can restrict the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens. So if you have a disgruntled coworker, if you have an angry ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend, they can go and empower the state to take away your right to keep and bear arms. In many states with very little to no protections of due process, I think that's a mistake. And I'll tell you, I'm even more frustrated because there's a better approach for us to take. I introduced legislation this week that is focused on stopping violent crime, that is focused on stopping mass murderers, that directs funding to prosecutors to prosecute violent criminals who use a gun, that gives money to prosecutors to prosecute felons and fugitives who try to illegally buy guns, and it provides significant funding for school safety, including funding to double the number of police officers in schools. If we want to keep our kids more safe, and everyone wants to keep our kids more safe, the way to do it is not to disarm law-abiding citizens. The way to do it is put the criminals in jail and have police officers on campus to protect our kids.
Such a great idea. It makes so much sense, Senator. We make our schools soft targets. We tell them blatantly, no guns allowed here, and those are the ones that the bad guys go to. Meanwhile, all the hardened targets, like banks, like security around celebrities and athletes and senators. No, those are hard targets, and that never seems to happen there. Senator, what about adding something like this? And this is just an idea I keep throwing out to people like you who care about our Second Amendment rights. What about, you want increased gun law? I have one for you. If you're caught with a ghost gun or a gun without a legitimate serial number, you automatically go to jail for a year. What about something like that?
Well, I'll tell you, the phenomenon of ghost guns is something that is making a lot of talking points. But if you look at actually where crimes come from, they're not used for crimes. That's not actually the source of crimes. And so I think we ought to focus on where actually violent crime is coming from. And it's coming principally from people with criminal convictions, felony convictions, violent crime convictions, or serious mental illness that illegally get guns. And if we target the bad guys, that's the most effective way, I think, to prevent violent crime.
Do you think the Supreme Court decision today, 6-3, by the way, elections matter, do you think the Supreme Court decision will affect any of the 14 senators that were on that list who are now looking to push more gun control on America?
So unfortunately, I don't. Today's decision at the Supreme Court was a tremendous victory. It was a victory for the Constitution. It was a victory for our liberties. The state of New York has in place very strict laws restricting when New Yorkers can concealed carry a firearm. Essentially, the rules said, other than in very limited circumstances, you can only have a handgun at home. And the Supreme Court said you can't do that constitutionally, that the Second Amendment protects your right, Eric, and my right to keep and bear arms. That means to defend yourself from criminals, to defend your family, to defend your children. And it was a fantastic opinion. Justice Clarence Thomas wrote the majority opinion for the 6-3 court, and it's a real victory for our liberties. But unfortunately, it's happening on the same day when the Senate is going down the road to limiting some of those liberties.
Some people don't even realize this, Senator, but all the major dictators in the world, sometimes millions, if not tens of millions and more, have died under these people. And the first thing they do before they make their move on the citizens is they disarm them.
Yep. I remember back, if you remember, to Tiananmen Square, where there were 1 million people gathered in protest in China. At the time, the NRA ran ads, I think it was in 6 major newspapers nationally, had a picture of the massive crowd gathering. And the NRA wrote the following. They said, yesterday, 1 million people gathered in protest in China. Imagine what would have happened if they had had guns.
Yeah.
And fundamentally, the right to keep and bear arms is about sovereignty being in we the people, the ability to protect ourselves, to protect our families. That's fundamentally why we are a free people, because a people that is armed is much more likely to remain free, and a people that is disarmed is much easier to subjugate.
Amen to that, Senator. Senator, I got about 20 seconds or so. Together in Truth Summit in Milwaukee. I'm sure you're going to touch on some of this. Tell us about it very quickly.
Well, I'm looking forward. I'm going to be in Milwaukee on Saturday. Since I'm on Capitol grounds, I can't talk about it beyond that, but I'm looking forward to being there.
Got it, Senator. I forgot about that. Listen, everyone, I can talk about it, though. Together in Truth Summit, Milwaukee on Saturday. Go to Senator Cruz's website. You'll find out all about it. Senator, really appreciate your time today, and keep up the fight for us.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it.